It's football season. Here we go. Welcome in. Warchant TV. Happy hour. Yay, football.
Football made it. We're back.
Everybody.
We're back.
We made it. We made it. It is good to be with you. Thanks for watching. You may or may not be able to hear me. If you're actually here, you probably can't. I don't know. But if you're watching online, you certainly can. What's up, brother?
I'm living the dream, man. Got my vodka, got my Mios, just living the dream, buddy.
I brought you some Mio. That's kind of fun.
The big picture, my fat face from last year that we got behind me.
You're not that fat there.
Well, I'm pretty fat, though.
It's also staggered. And
yeah, that's true.
You're all right.
It's the biggest crowd we probably had for one of these, right? I told you when the game was scheduled, Duquesne was going to bring them out. People love watching Duquesne. They still feel bad about the 89 tournament game they lost to Duquesne in the first round.
Is the reason they're
well,
inside.
it's raining, too. That helps.
I know. Certainly you'd like to take credit. I'd like to take credit, but alas, it's pouring outside. But it is football season, and that is reason enough to celebrate. And maybe a lot of people are here for exactly that. The cold beers and the start of football is a good thing at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. And by the way, we'll be doing this every home game Friday, 5:30 to 6:30. If you're out of town, you're thinking about coming in, just remember, this is the place to be. Apalachee Parkway, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 5:30 to 6:30 every home game Friday.
And don't make eye contact with us when you come in here, obviously. We don't do autographs anymore. But still.
It's gotten out of control,
It's gotten out of control. We got to live our lives.
What are we supposed to do?
Okay, thank you. But I'm getting another shot, everyone. But, yeah, other than that, it's awesome that we made it, man. It's awesome that we made it. It's crazy that we made it. It feels like that was a long, long off season. But we're here, man, and they're going to probably be 1-0 to start a season for the first time since 2016, man.
We're not doing the probably.
They are going to be undefeated. They're going to be
1-0 after tomorrow, and if they're not, then I won't watch another game. But
I'm with you. I might quit.
At that point, we just call it a day. We'll be up here at noon on Monday.
I'm not going to New Orleans.
Yeah, that'd be a toughie. But I would say this. It is, and I think a lot of people agree with this. For whatever reason, I think maybe it's the added depth. I think it's that Mike has done a good job in messaging. I think certainly, our coverage, we've talked a lot about this. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of people believe that they've installed enough and implemented enough in the way of depth and talent that they should be a decent team this year. So there's a buzz surrounding this season that didn't exist really a year ago and a year before that for a variety of reasons. But I think a lot of people think that this team's pretty good this year.
And don't you also think it has a little bit to do with how last season went, and that they did, Jordan Travis's last 7 games, they went 5-2. They looked like an 8 or 9 win team there the last 2 months of the season when he's healthy and playing, which wasn't all the time. Like they lost NC State, and he didn't play in that game. And then the other 2 games they lost down the stretch were at Clemson and at Florida.
Yeah, and I think when you finish a season like that, you don't quit after going 0-4. You garner a lot of appreciation because with the way things have gone at Florida State over the last 4 years, if you're 0-4, you can pack it in pretty quickly. Yeah. The fact that they didn't, and they almost beat Clemson on the road, they showed all kinds of fight, right? There were performances last year in the second half of the season that gave people a lot of hope, and that's what carries over. And then you find out, they got this guy in the transfer portal. They added their offensive line. Trey Benson's actually healthy, the kid that was really well thought of when he committed to Oregon. And so the fact that we see that version of him. Johnny Wilson, I think he's a bit of a wild card in the sense that nobody really knows him, but they know he's 6'7".
You also don't, he literally could have 12 touchdowns this year, or 3. We don't know. I think his ceiling is high enough that you could think he'd have a touchdown a game. He certainly has multiple touchdowns in practices. So that's something. And I also think when you went into last season and you were honest with yourself, the offensive line you probably thought was below average. The linebackers you knew were below average. The wide receivers were one of the worst units in the Power 5. You've gotten so much better at all those positions that now you're above average, at least average to above average at all 3. That's a big step up from where you were last year at this time.
I think the trepidation lies in the fact that while they're better at a lot of spots, they are still not terribly deep at a lot of spots. They are deep on the offensive line. I think that line's average, and you start taking hits, it's going to be a problem. Even though you have more in the way of backups than you had a year ago, it's not an elite offensive line. We're not trying to paint that picture. So, you still hold your breath in some areas because Tatum Bethune is a massive upgrade to your point at linebacker. Knock on wood, but if something were to happen, and football is football, people get hurt. you're not incredibly deep just like that. It happens that way. They're better. The starting 22 are better. There's depth at certain key spots that didn't exist a year ago. But that said, you're an injury tour away from being a pretty average football team, and that's why people still are cautiously optimistic. Hey, listen, I'll take any form of optimism. There hasn't been any in 5 years.
Why would there be?
Right. So, I mean, I'm not trying to bring anybody down, especially not on a Libations Friday, happy hour at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
That coffee beer just going down smooth.
That Guinness right here. But I'm just saying that, we know this team can be a lot better. We are going to need some breaks. They are going to have to stay healthy.
Yeah, they need turnover luck and they need injury luck. And if they get both of those, I mean, who knows? I mean, I know Tom predicted.
If they get both of those, Corey, they could win 9 games.
Yeah, Tom predicted 9 wins yesterday. I'm not willing to go there. He did. Yeah, Tom Lane, the great Tom Lane.
What show was that on?
I don't remember. Okay. I was surprised to hear you guys on the radio. I didn't know y'all were still on the radio. That was cool to see. But yeah, so yeah, Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3, 93.3 FM, Warchant TV. But yeah, you had 8. Tom had 9. I'm there, right? 7 and 8, right there. But I do think if Jordan Travis plays every game, I would pick them to at least go 8 and 4. But that's the injury luck you're talking about. That's the injury luck you're talking about. And also, yeah, you get 2 linebackers dinged up. You get those defensive tackles dinged up. It's a different defense.
You get nervous. I just want people who are watching on Warchant TV to know we'll take questions, fire away. Tom will relay them to us. We don't have our normal monitor that we have here, but monitor, Tom. We do not have that, but we are ready to go to take questions.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys bringing the technology. So I'll let you know that Shane has already contributed $100 to the
Jesus,
cause.
Shane.
That's what Shane does, man.
That's
Shane. That's a light day for Shane.
Buy around for the pillars on him. So that's what he requested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, absolutely. We got Ralph's here, Eric's here. We got a couple pillars in the house.
Some diehards. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Rob Rathbun, $20.
Rob's the man.
Thank you,
always
Rob.
The man.
Appreciate that. Absolutely.
Questions forthcoming. Thank the guys, and I'll get you a good question.
Well, I'm thanking the hell out of them right now. We're 10 minutes in, $120 richer.
Shane. Well, we're splitting that, right? So you're $60 richer.
And there's the owner of the CP, legendary.
The great Bill Hayes.
Bill Hayes. There he is.
Former high school football star.
Superstar in Pensacola.
Hey, and also we have some Garnet Gold gift cards to give away. I think we're going to do like a trivia. I'm going to ask some trivia questions, and whoever answers them first.
Well, you've been stockpiling trivia lately because you've been
These will be
shows.
Probably more Florida State related than like aviation disasters like I did a couple weeks ago. But
we'll won the hearts of many.
Maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I'll ask the first one. I think I got one on deck. It's kind of related to you. It's a Jeff Cameron
what year?
Question.
What ancient-ass Jeff started covering this team when?
Oh, that's a good one. But no, we won't do that. But yeah, so when you look at is there anything you can see from this game that if they went 48-6, you take anything? Does anything portend to what you could do against LSU?
No, not at all.
Yeah, probably not, right?
And that's okay. Like I've said, like we were jokingly having a good time with each other on Seminole Headlines Tuesdays from 1 to 3. I said, look, man, they could win this game 77-7. They could win the game 30-0. It's physically, you're not learning a lot about the team in this game. But they do get to work out their communication systems. They do get to work out the headsets, all the things that can go wrong in a first game.
Right, all right.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of weird things that can happen in a first game.
Yeah.
And communication's a big one. Because I'm talking about coach to coach to player, segment group to segment.
Yeah.
All that stuff matters. And if you get that ironed out in game 1 like this, you do have a slight advantage. You're not going to be worried about that on game day against LSU.
Yeah.
So it's not nothing. It does matter. I mean, they will encounter some problems, and they will end up having to work through those, and they'll learn from it. Whereas if LSU has that happen on that Sunday in New Orleans,
they're going to be in a hole and they can't get out of it.
That's the first thing.
It's going to be an avalanche.
It's the first they've experienced it, and it can be more problematic. So it's good to have a week 0 game. It's good to get out there in front of the fans. It's good to be able to play a lot of guys, and they will play a lot of guys. Think about how cool this is, how cool of a moment this is for the second string and third string guys and even some walk-ons, right? If Florida State does what they should do against Duquesne.
Yeah.
And guys, when you hear me this dismissive of Duquesne, it's not a matter of disrespect. This is a school that doesn't
You have nothing but respect for Duquesne football.
Nothing but love
this
for
guy
Duquesne, baby.
Grew up on Duquesne football.
I love him. But here's the thing. This isn't even like when you're playing a team like Jacksonville State who beat Florida State last year. They don't have the same number of scholarships at Duquesne, for example. So if you go through and you look at that roster, he gets thin pretty quick. There's a lot of guys like me and you that play for Duquesne. That you're kind of, or maybe a younger
Did Duquesne
version of
recruit
us.
you at all? Did Duquesne know about you?
Duquesne
back
did not
in the day?
recruit me.
Okay.
I'd like to think I was above their pay grade. I'd like to think that. I don't know that. But no, they didn't. Then again, there's a couple of small colleges like Lenore Ryan that did, so maybe I wasn't.
Hey,
but,
man, who knows?
Bottom line is, physically, you'll wear them down quickly. Florida State's such a better team. It's more about execution. It's more about, iron out the kinks. But, for Duquesne, obviously it's a payday. They'll come in here. They'll play hard. You know that. They have a couple players. I know you guys broke it down on Wake Up Warchant. Appreciate the insight on that. I did not break it down.
No.
I appreciate that you gave me the knowledge of the third-year starter at defensive tackle. That's a good player. And there was a running back, I think, that was returned.
Yeah, they got a wide receiver transfer from Marist. That was their big portal hit in the offseason.
A huge get in the transfer
But again,
portal.
we were probably making fun of Jacksonville State last year at this time.
Dude, it's not the same. We're not doing this again. But that said, I do think it's cool that some Walk-ins are going to play tomorrow in the Garnet and Gold. What a cool thing. What a moment, right? And you can never take it away from somebody.
Well, right, yeah. Let's hope.
Like when they're 50 years old, they're going to be telling me, I played. I got in a game at Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field, wearing the Garnet and the Gold, the spear on my helmet. That's huge. Listen, it's going to happen.
Okay,
Corey.
I hope, man. I hope walk-ons are playing.
Stop putting up the wall.
I hope walk-ons are playing.
Fear. You've been burned. I know.
You think any offensive linemen are preparing to propose to their girlfriends after the game, too? Are they going to save that for New Orleans?
It can't happen.
They can't do that 2 years in a row, right? I was going to say, though, real quick about when you're trying to extrapolate what this would mean if you have a big day tomorrow, 50, 60 points. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer because it would be awesome for this team to win a game by 50 points. Just to score a bunch of touchdowns is cool. It doesn't happen. It hadn't happened a lot around here. But I went back to 2008. You remember who they started with in 08?
No, I don't.
They beat Western Carolina 69-0. Then they beat UT Chattanooga 42-3, maybe?
It was a disappointing effort that day.
Then Wake Forest rolled into town. You remember the score of that game?
In 08?
Yeah.
We were terrible.
Devontae Richardson and Christian Ponder were still battling for the starting spot.
It was like 13-3?
It was 12-3.
12-3. I said 13-3.
Florida State scored 3 whole points.
Yeah. Well, we weren't very good.
Well, they were. You're right. They weren't. They were getting there. They were trying to build things up. But
I remember it was that night, and it was devastating.
It was, and they had the good linebacker, and they had
the corner. They had the stud corner.
And Riley Skinner was maybe the quarterback, maybe. But who knows? It's hard.
Guys.
Anyway, go ahead, Tom.
All right, 2 questions. First question is, what are you drinking? What are you drinking tonight is the first question.
I'm drinking a Guinness. He's drinking vodka and meat.
I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
You might want to give him the method again. Give him the method one more time that you use.
What? Okay, so yeah, I got a
guys.
No, this is great. This is great.
He
stuff.
no longer has the gallbladder, and yet he's still doing this. It's ridiculous.
So I get a full glass of water right here. I get a shot of vodka.
This
is a half shot because I've already used one of the shots. I only dump half a shot in at a time with a full glass of water, and then Daddy squirts in a little Mio. This is fruit punch. So I did strawberry kiwi for this one. I mean, this is what adults drink, Jeff. You can drink your coffee if you want. I'm trying to get a buzz.
Most hydrated man in America.
It's crazy. I do not sleep anymore because every hour and a half I get up and go to the bathroom.
The second question is, who are you excited to see tomorrow? What player are you excited to see tomorrow?
Jared Verse.
Yeah.
I really want to see Jared Verse. He's got an endless motor. He is intense. He's strong. He should dominate the tackle across from him in this game.
If he doesn't dominate,
we got a
bad sign.
So, no, listen. Now that you know what? Good point. There are some things you can extrapolate physically from this game. You are right. If for some reason Florida State is not dominating both lines of scrimmage, hold your breath, friends, because LSU's got 3 defensive linemen that will get drafted in the first 3 rounds. If they can't block Duquesne.
Remember, though, Duquesne's got 3 preseason all-conference Northeast Conference players, 2 first-team guys and a second-team guy.
That would make me nervous. And also, Jared Verse, if he doesn't just destroy that tackle, he can still be productive. He just won't be a sack machine this year against better teams. So that will be frustrating. The lines of scrimmage, somebody brought this up today on the wildly popular Jeff Cameron show, Corey. They brought up the fact that Florida State hasn't dominated the line of scrimmage against anybody in a long time. You better dominate the line of scrimmage against Duquesne.
Yeah, well, I would say UMass they did, but other than that,
I mean, it's just
It does, it's very rare that it happens. Yes, I mean, you would. I didn't remember this last year against Jacksonville State. They ran for over 200 yards.
Well, I mean, listen,
they were just horrible throwing the ball.
They were horrible throwing the ball. They weren't good in the red zone. They had some issues there. Yeah.
But yes, if you can't dominate Duquesne on both lines of scrimmage, you're in real trouble. But they should, and I think they will. They have to. They will. They will dominate the line of scrimmage.
Shane and Michelle are about to get. There we go. They're about to get. Yes.
Yeah.
They're about to what?
They donated, and then Bill is the new one at the bottom of the.
They donated big time, and they're going to get around is what they're going to get. We're going to buy around on us right now. Well, it's kind of on them.
Bill Ellis has contributed to the program. 20 bones.
Thank you,
All right,
Bill.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it.
If you're here and you're that kind, we can gladly buy you a drink.
Okay, I'm going to ask the first trivia question.
Which card?
It's a $25. If y'all can hear me, I hope you can hear me. Anybody hear me? Can you raise your hand
turn my
if you
mic
can hear
all the
me?
way down and let this guy
All right,
answer
good. All right, so this is a Florida State related trivia question. First one to shout it out. Tom, how do I do? I don't know how to do it. Do they race to me? I don't know how to do it other than this. Tom, you got to listen.
Knock the people over on your way to Tom.
But what if they know if they're way over there? Okay, you're right.
Well, then there's
crowd around. You're right.
You got to be better.
Closer to the control room. All right. This question, it's an easy one, I think. What future FSU All-American did Jeff Cameron play high school football with at Lakeland Polk? Where'd you go?
Dude, Lakewood High School. Yeah. Better hurry.
Here we go. Correct. It is William Floyd.
My homeboy, William Floyd.
There you go. $25
one. Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
$25 gift card.
I also played junior football with him and basketball in my driveway every day after school.
Yeah, we know, man.
I also
we know
ran
the stories.
track with him.
We all know the stories. And you were the anchor of the 4x1, right?
I was not the anchor.
But you ran 4x1.
I did run 4x1.
I know.
I ran second.
Yeah.
And Tommy Carter ran fourth. Tommy Carter played 13 years in the NFL.
I know, man. He was good.
He was really fast. A lot faster than me. Hence, he was the anchor.
Well, that's fine.
Whatever
you had a cool
deficit I may
college
have put
career
us in, he was able to overcome.
That's right.
Yeah. No. William is a wonderful human being and a Nole through and through. You know, by the way, an old story about William, when he was at Burt Reynolds Hall here, I went to visit him. Tiger McMillan was his roommate.
The first athlete I'd ever heard of called Tiger
McMillan.
And then 4 years later, somebody else came along.
William Floyd and Tiger McMillan lived together, and I went over there, and I guess I don't know if I should say this, but we were drinking at Burt Reynolds Hall.
Even though he was a college student?
He was a college student.
Yikes.
I was also a college student.
That's not great.
And so was Tiger. And we were having a very good time. And I remember at that time walking outside at Burt Reynolds Hall, and I was giving him a hug goodbye, and like 5 offensive linemen walked past. And I had just been at ETSU the previous year. And these men were the largest individuals I'd ever seen. And it was the most humbling thing because I remember thinking, oh, you had no chance to play here. Like, these dudes are otherworldly big. And it also reminded me how good William was.
Who were they? Like Clay Shiver in that game?
Yeah, a huge that group. That was unbelievable.
So that was a very good offensive line.
So that would have been 91. Yeah,
okay,
91,
nice.
92.
Nice.
So that was good times. Those were big dudes. Talented dudes.
Well, they have a few still. They still have a few guys.
Hey, so isn't that the thing you're most excited about, honestly?
To see how talented they are?
No, to see the offensive line be competent for the first time in years.
No, I'd rather I want to see the wide receivers go.
Well, you are addicted to wide receivers.
I am, man. I am.
So
because we just talked about, like, they should push Duquesne around, and these wide receivers should dominate these DBs.
Over under 6 catches, Johnny Wilson, game 1.
Under, but I think he's going to have 1.5 touchdowns. Over under on that.
Under.
You think he's going to go 1?
They're going to pull him out of the game.
Yeah, they'll probably pull him out of the game. But, yeah, man, I want to see him. I want to see Duquesne. I want to see Micah Pittman. These guys are very talented. They've done really well in practice. Johnny Wilson has dominated practice. We'll see how that translates. It should translate very well to Duquesne, but he has dominated practices for large stretches. I want to see Duquesne. I want to see Micah Pittman. I want to see Pokey Wilson. I want to see maybe Darian Williamson. Like, there's going to be somebody else. It's not going to be just those 4. There will be a 5th. or a sixth maybe.
Yeah.
And I want to see who that is, who kind of stakes their claim. And then obviously you're going to pare down the rotation a good bit when you get to New Orleans.
By the way, there's a chance that one of the guys we're not talking about at all at wide receiver emerges this year. I mean, we wouldn't be surprised if Maleen Mclean played well, but is there do you think Kentron Portier or somebody like that can end up, based on what you've seen? You've studied the receivers. I like Williamson more than Portier.
Okay. I think he's got a little more, like to call quick twitch, fast twitch.
That's what you like to call.
Yeah, and but Maleen Mclean has he had a better year than we remember. I mean, he caught some he had some big catches last year. Not a great year. He didn't burst onto the scene like Rashad Green, but he was a nice enough freshman wide receiver. And then he's been pretty good this fall.
Yeah,
he kind of gets lost in the shuffle because of 14 and because of Micah Pittman, but Maleen Mclean might be. I mean, you imagine Florida State might legitimately run out a set where they have a 6'7" wide receiver, a 6'4" wide receiver, and a 6'3" wide receiver. Johnny Wilson's not a burner. Those other two are, though. Like, they look like NFL dudes. Yeah, I'm not saying they play like them. We don't know yet, but they look like NFL guys. And it's going to be so much easier than throwing up to the 5'10" kids.
Duquesne's going to have a good day tomorrow.
Let's hope, man. Let's hope. Give him some confidence.
He'll have a good day tomorrow. Okay, a series of questions have come in. First of all,
are they texting you?
So Mark stepped up big. We appreciate you, Mark.
Mark's the man. Mark.
Bill stepped up big time. Bill Ellis. Did we already talk about Bill? Yeah, we did. Bill Ellis. 904 Noel said, "Here you go. I'll see you guys tomorrow at Hotel Indigo, which will be there 2 to 5. Thank you." James B.
James B is the man. He's Pensacola. By the way, speaking of Pensacola, again, I did it on the live show, Wake Up Warchant. Former Warchant managing editor, D.C. Reeves is the new mayor of Pensacola.
Yeah. And we're going to see him tomorrow at Hotel Indigo. He's coming by.
Are you going to interview him?
Yeah. So, he can sit in.
Yeah, he's got some good stories. Yeah. Man, he and Jimbo used to, I mean, it was funny.
Oh, it was fun. I was there the day Jimbo pulled him down the hall.
Yeah. They had some back and forths, which were really funny.
James B., thank you so much. Cannot thank you enough. Major contribution to what we're doing here tonight. That is huge. He writes, I wish I was there. I will be there tomorrow. All right, brother.
All right,
we will see you tomorrow. Look forward to it. Also, Mark, let's get,
James B. had a question for you guys. Who scores first? Who
scores first?
Trayshawn Ward.
I think it's going to be by air, actually. I like your question. I like your answer. You took, I guess, the first best guess, but I'm going to go with Duquesne.
I think they're going to hit like a 41-yarder to Johnny Wilson. He's going to get pushed out of bounds at the 9, and then on the next play, Ward takes it around right edge.
I think it's a long throw to Duquesne who's going to run like past the corner.
Don't you figure the Duquesne corners are going to be playing off a little bit?
Perhaps, but I don't think
it's not going to matter.
It's tough to adjust. Like early, you don't know, and then all of a sudden you know. It's a terrifying feeling. We've all been there. We're like, oh, well, that's a little different.
Yeah, we're not seeing this on the scout team. The kid from Marist doesn't run like this. That's a little
different, yeah.
But yeah, so you guys, when you go tomorrow, I assume if you're here, most of you are going to go. You're going to watch it on TV. If you don't, just watch Duquesne run, man, and kind of again try to project what that could look like after he's played the position for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because he's exponentially better than he was in the spring. We watched him in the spring, and we're like, well, this is. We didn't call it a miss, but we're like, this kid has no chance of helping them this year. None.
I was worried.
He was fighting the ball. He couldn't. His hands were stoned.
He also couldn't run
routes.
Yeah.
Was not crisp. He looks like a different guy. And what was that, 5 months ago?
Yeah, so credit to him, by the way, because there's only one way to do that, and that's putting in the work. He has clearly, before they ever started practice, put in the work. And that's, I mean, before fall camp opened up, he had to have been out there working every day. You cannot take the steps that he's taken without having put in serious time.
All right, a question from Garrett. Garrett wants to know, is Johnny Wilson more similar in your eyes to Kelvin Benjamin or Greg Carr?
Well, Greg Carr. I think more similar to Greg Carr. Kelvin Benjamin, hey guys.
What about 2012 Kelvin Benjamin?
Well, so the bad version of Kelvin Benjamin, Johnny Wilson's already better than.
Yes, correct.
The version of Kelvin Benjamin that decided he wanted to make some money and go pro, that got himself into incredible shape, was a freak. So there was nothing you could do with him.
Yeah. I think the difference between Johnny Wilson and Greg Carr, though, Greg Carr wasn't really interested in blocking, and he was not physical. It was jump balls to him.
We agree.
Johnny Wilson's a physical
But this
guy
was
and will go
more
across.
similar.
Yeah, I got you. But I'm saying I think he's I think he's a poor man's Kelvin Benjamin more than he's a rich man's Greg Carr or something like that. I think he and Kelvin have similar traits as a receiver. I just think Kelvin was better at him. Right? You know what I mean? A little faster, a little quicker, a little bit
bigger.
Yeah, a little thicker. Yeah,
I mean, he was a thick dude. Hey, so let me just say this. We had Dominic Robinson on the show today. He clarified his comments about
D-Rob. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
So I like his analysis. I mean, this is something that we get into arguments about all the time with people. You know, Josh Hamilton in baseball could have been one of the greatest players in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Bat speed was insane. He could run like the wind blows. He was a big, strong guy. He was also addicted to crack for 4 years.
Yeah.
So his career did not play out the way his attributes suggested that they could have, right? I mean, we got a glimpse. We got a snapshot.
Yeah.
All right. So you can say that somebody, and obviously I'm not trying to impugn the integrity of either of these players, but you can say somebody is as athletically gifted as you've ever seen. You can say somebody is a unique talent. It doesn't mean they're as good a player. It doesn't mean that they're going to have the career that somebody else has. So I get where D-Rob was coming from. He's saying, look, man, I was that route runner, hands, consistency, work ethic.
Tough. I think he's a tough kid.
Yeah, he may be further along than Kelvin Benjamin was at the time that Kelvin got here.
It's just ceilings we're talking about.
It's just ceilings that we're arguing about.
In the last 7 games of 2013.
He was unguardable.
Maybe the best 6-game stretch that any FSU receivers ever have besides like Ron Sellers.
What were you going to do with that guy? You couldn't do anything with it. So my point was, I get where D-Rob's coming from, and he thinks that he could have a more consistent and better and more productive career. That's completely fair.
He might have a better 2-year stretch than Benjamin did in 12 and 13.
Correct. So I completely get that. And we get mired in the numbers. We start looking at this guy ran 4.3, this guy ran 4.5. Listen, all these guys are preternaturally gifted athletes. They're all very talented. It takes a lot more to take another step into being a consistently great player at the college and pro level. You have to want to.
Yeah.
And D-Rob's point was, not only is Johnny Wilson a big, strong, long athlete, he's also a guy who cares very deeply about getting better.
Yes.
Who's working every day, all day to do so. Well, I mean, let's just be honest. Kelvin didn't do that.
Right.
I don't think Kelvin loved football. Somewhere along the way, the light bulb went off. Somebody got to him, whether it be Jameis or Jimbo or a hometown friend. Somebody told Kelvin, do you realize you've been given a lottery ticket? If you try, you're about to be a millionaire. Just try for 2 years and you're going to be a millionaire. And he did.
Yeah.
But Johnny Wilson's day-to-day work ethic is way better.
And just as it relates to this team, man, like these receivers, Micah Pittman is a tough-minded, competitive dude. Johnny Wilson is too. These receivers won't get punked. Clemson punked those receivers last year. There were times where other teams they could not get open. And maybe they weren't punked, like they weren't like shying away from contact or anything. They just weren't very good. They weren't good enough. They weren't big enough. You now have a group of Deuce Spann 6'3", Maleen Mclean 6'4", who's a year older, Johnny Wilson 6'7", and Micah Pittman might be the toughest of the group. I know he's only 5'10", but he's a little dynamo when he gets the ball in his hands, and he doesn't like to be tackled. So that's a good combination. They've had a lot of guys around here that haven't minded being tackled.
Oh,
Micah Pittman.
They've also had guys around here who haven't minded being blocked.
Yeah, minded being blocked or minded being covered.
Yeah.
Micah Pittman takes offense to you trying to tackle him. That hasn't been around here a lot lately. So that's that's why I want to see the receivers. I want to see them dominate, man. They should dominate the Duquesne defensive backs.
I like that you're pointing something out that we largely ignore. How much what for, how much want to, how much get you some does this team have? A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. That's important. Couple questions here. JDT contributed. Thank you, JDT. Appreciate you. If Jimbo hit on Malik Henry, he may still be here.
Yeah. Was that the question?
No.
Oh.
Now that it's been a while, what was the deal with Malik?
Oh, man.
Where do we start? Where do we start? Listen, I don't want to get sued. I could tell you guys some things that I think was going on.
Yeah.
But I can't prove that, and I'm not about to get sued. We live in a litigious society.
Right.
I'm going to leave that alone. But my man may not have had his ducks in the row. All right, let's just say that. My man may not have been living a salubrious lifestyle.
Yeah, and we're not here to
I'm just saying.
relitigate the Malik Henry recruitment.
I'm just saying.
But Jimbo,
there were also warning signs
you could
prior
see that
to him
coming
getting here.
for 2 years.
Well, when
He
you
transferred
jump from school to school to school,
every other period he was in a different school.
yeah.
Like,
So all
okay,
I'm
third
saying is,
period
again,
I'm at this school. Now fifth period I've moved over to this high school. He did 5 high schools.
yeah, my man wasn't, living that life. He
And
was not
also,
locked in on the
Francois
things it
getting
takes.
hurt. The other DeAndre and what happened with him. There was a run of it. But Malik Henry, because he was preternaturally talented, man, as a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, a gifted arm.
And just did not work out.
All I know is, guys, on the day that they had media day, and we were there, and we're down on the football field, segment groups are separated. They take the team picture in the stadium. He walked past me, and I was aghast.
Yeah.
I remember going,
this kid.
oh,
can't
well,
be
that
a
ain't gonna. That's not gonna work. This is not gonna work. That's all I'll say. How many yards, writes Robert, will Tate Rodemaker throw for tomorrow? $167.
167. I'm going to say 88. I think he's going to get 3 drives. They're going to want to run some, but I think he's going to throw for a touchdown.
I think he's going to throw for one big play, which is going to boost the numbers.
Okay, all right.
So I like that. Brian, thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Random question. We see Norvell face Coop every day. Yeah, in the foot race. If you're Mike, if you ever lose, is it just over at that point? It's a little bit like hairlines. You got to really know when time is up. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to look in that mirror and go,
well, he lost
who the
one.
hell am I kidding?
He lost one in the spring because he blew a hamstring.
But he didn't lose. He got hurt.
Well, still.
I'm just saying, if you blow a hamstring, I'm not counting that as a loss.
That's a lose-lose. It's like when I blew my hamstring when I raced Natalie Pierre in the in the parking lot.
Won that race.
I did. I won it twice.
Yeah.
And the second one I went down in a heap.
Yeah,
but it was worth it. It was
there
the
would
last
not
time.
Be a third.
No, I was not doing another one.
Hey, so bottom line is this. Mike's not going to lose to Big Coop. Mike is not that far removed. I mean, he's removed, but he's not so far removed from being a receiver.
But he's in good shape.
And he's in good shape. He keeps himself in good shape. And Coop is 300-plus pounds.
Yeah, 320 maybe. Yeah, he should never lose that.
It's just,
Cooper gets a head start of about 10 yards. He also has teammates blocking for him, like trying to shield Norvell off.
I am going to tell you 2 things about that. It's team building. It's camaraderie. It's cool. Every time he does it, I hold my breath. Because there's no problem if Coach Norvell shatters a knee, breaks an ankle,
he can coach
or rips
with
a hamstring.
Yeah.
There's a real problem if you're racing your head coach and your starting nose tackle tears his ACL or rips his hamstring. So I've kind of often thought they should stop the tradition.
I would like them to do that too. And
I'd like them to stop doing
also,
that.
Maybe I don't know if I broke the code that we get to cover practice. I just reported on Norvell's injury at practice. I don't know that we're
supposed to. That was a year ago.
I know, but still coaching injuries. I don't know if we're allowed to.
It was kind of funny when it happened because I too have pulled a hamstring and I was like, oh, I know what that feels like.
Oh, I got another trivia question, Tom.
Before you start.
Okay.
We got another question. Tom, thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate you. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to tell you, he contributed 1101 because he says, 11-1, boys. I can feel it all the way down to my plums. Mm-hmm. Well, Tom, I'd like to have what you're having. I'd like to know what it is you're eating, drinking, smoking. 11-1 seems highly unlikely, but your optimism is welcome here.
Can you imagine what life would be like if we were covering an 11-win team again? I mean, that would be incredible.
We would go to a cool city to cover the bowl game.
And not
maybe a playoff game.
Yeah, probably 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, so I got a trivia question. All right, same thing. I guess they come up to you. Whoever gets to you first. Tom,
the guy
raising his hand with the Mets.
He's right here.
This is going to be I think this will be a 25 or 2. So we were talking about Kelvin Benjamin. We all remember the catch he made in the national championship game. There were 3 other touchdowns scored in that game by Florida State players. Kermit Whitfield, obviously, with a kick return.
Oh, that's a big one, baby.
Devontae Freeman had a run in the first half to cut it to 21-10. Who was the other Florida State player that scored a touchdown in that game?
Manny wins.
Chad Big Pad Abram on a little screen pass from Jameis Winston.
Yeah, it was one of the great moments. Come get your car, baby.
Come on, buddy. I got you. And in great fashion, because it's Florida State. Congrats, buddy. Good to see you again, man.
By the way, Manny, can I get a pair of your Postal pants? They look comfortable as hell.
They're not.
They do look nice, though.
I want to wear those
nice.
on the golf course. I like them. I need a pair.
So on that play, I think that cut it to 2, and Florida State was going to.
Chad Abrams touchdown?
Yeah, it would have made it 21-19.
So that little pass out in the flat.
Yeah,
and he kind of bobbles it for a second.
But
he makes a play.
Devontae Freeman is on the other side of the field. All he does is look at the Auburn sideline and do this.
And they
flagged him for 15 yards.
Meanwhile, your boy's posing.
Yeah, he's posing. He didn't get anything.
Yeah.
He just does this. He didn't do this.
He should have done that.
He didn't do double bird. I shouldn't. Sorry, guys. I did some family
should
show.
Have done it all.
He didn't do it. He didn't do any of that. He just did this, and he got a 15-yard penalty. They had to kick the extra point. And Roberto Aguayo made it.
Well, I always think about, I don't want to go here. I'll piss off people.
Let's not do that.
The people that officiate games, man. That's all I'm saying. I understand it's a hard job. I give you a lot of leeway when it comes to the difficulty and the speed of the game. Where I get mad is when you're litigating emotion, when you decide to, I guess, imprint your personal feelings about what somebody should or should not do when they score a touchdown.
Correct.
And
you saw it a lot. You saw it a lot in the 90s when they felt bad for teams.
Knows where I'm going with that.
They were losing by 50 points to much more talented athletes.
Oh, I thought you were waving at me.
No, I was going to say, I could say Trey Mason. I mean, where the hell was the flag on Trey
Well, that's what we were talking about.
Well, he did it on the sideline, Tom. That was the difference. He did it on the side. What a great Heisman moment.
The camera.
I know. What a great Heisman moment that was for him.
It was great. By the way, though, I'm forever grateful to Trey Mason. He trucked Jalen Ramsey on that play.
They won them a national.
And maybe the last time Jalen Ramsey's ever been trucked.
Yeah.
And if he had made the tackle, it would have taken an extra 45 seconds to a minute and a half to score. We could have had a real problem. Yeah. So thank goodness in that moment, Trey Mason just punked Jalen Ramsey.
Man, what a great time to cover Florida State football.
Well, it seems like a distant memory.
It's coming back.
Maybe this year is the year that signals signs of something turning the corner.
Yeah.
Kyle wants to know. Kyle is asking, would you guys be interested in writing a tell-all book about Florida State from 2001 to present?
Sure.
2001 to present?
And is there any story you could share that might be a little edgy?
So if we wrote that book, Corey, if you and I decided to write that book.
So the last 20 years, 21 years.
Yeah, 20 years. I got a lot of them. I started covering the team on the, being on the sideline, going to practice, doing those things in 1998.
Yep.
It's hard to believe. I
was 07, so you had a decade on me.
So I would just tell you, there are a lot of stories, fun stories. Some of them involve things I've actually said on the air eons ago. It's kind of what led to Chris Ricks not liking me, and other stories like that.
Were you critical of Chris Ricks?
I might have been.
That's weird.
Might have been.
For what?
I may have had a few conversations with Jeff Bowden over the years that didn't go well either. But I had call-ins from coaches' wives and things like that I could tell lots of stories about. Emails that involved threats from coaches' wives as well.
I haven't had any of that.
Oh, yeah, I had some good ones.
People like me. I'm not as bombastic as you.
No, but you got here in 07. They were already down.
Yeah.
I was watching the plane crash into the side of the mountain.
You were.
You got to understand, I could not sit idly by as the plane was crashing into the side of the mountain.
You were the stewardess or the flight attendant that was like, guys, this thing's going down.
We got a problem here, everybody. Yeah. So that's kind of what was going on there. It was a little different. By the time you got here, you're like, oh, it's just wreckage.
That's right. Let's clean this up.
Let's clean this up and get it together. Yeah, it was a little bit more difficult for me because I was watching the plane towards the mountain.
What one player from 2010? It's a random team, but Jimbo's first year.
Question?
No. This isn't a trivia question. It's to you. Would make this team a win better in your eyes? Would equal at least one more win?
2010. You're going to make me pull up the exact roster because I probably. Well.
I mean, there were some good ones.
Listen,
you had Greg Reed.
I was just going to say Greg Reed. I love Greg Reed.
Well, you had Rodney Hudson. Now, he wasn't the center. McMahon was the center. Hudson was the guard. But, yes, Hudson. I think Hudson's the guy.
But Tom said, listen, Ponder's not a terrible name.
No, you're not. You're not wrong.
Christian Ponder was a really good college football player. That 1 year especially. Yeah. He had a really good season. And, he could move. Now, he also had the maddening habit of fumbling anytime he got touched in the pocket.
Yes, that was maddening a couple of times in particular.
Yeah, I would prefer that not have happened as frequently as it did. Rodney Hudson's a really good answer.
That's probably it, right? I was thinking of anybody on the defense, and I think
just
they had some good guys on that defense. Bradham,
Nigel was not that big a difference.
Rodney Hudson, he. I don't know how it works with centers, but he might have a chance at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he said Bobby. Rodney Hudson's been really good in the pros. He needs to play a little longer.
Who's the next Florida State player in the Hall of Fame? Leroy Butler, congratulations. That was awesome to see. I was hoping that would happen for years. It was crazy that Steve Atwater got in and he didn't, but he's in. So he became the 5th, I think. Who's the 6th Florida State player to get in the
Anquan Bolden
Pro Football Hall of Fame? Okay.
I think Anquan Bolden gets in.
He needs to. He is a great dude off the field. He had incredible numbers.
Yeah, and I would make an argument. And again,
he won a Super Bowl too, right? With the Ravens?
Yeah, and listen, I would tell you that I think Warrick Dunn should get in. Now, the reason I would say that is it's total yards.
Yeah.
Yards from scrimmage. So you had to count the receiving yards to go with.
Yeah,
was he a dominant running back? No. But was he one of the early multi-dimensional running backs that was such a threat? He killed it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he really did. Now, listen, he gets overshadowed an awful lot. Obviously, that Rams offense, people tend to think about that more than they do what Warrick Dunn did in Tampa and Atlanta.
Yeah.
But honestly, he was that kind of player. He was a huge threat out of the backfield. He also got screwed out of touchdowns because of Mike Allstott.
Mike Allstott came and just stole touchdowns from him.
He was a thief in fantasy football too. But Warrick Dunn, go look at his total yards from scrimmage. If you compare him
I think he's like top 20 in the history of the league.
He's 20th all time in total yards in the NFL
and
that's crazy. People don't realize that.
I don't know if you know his story, Jeff, but he was a pretty good dude off the field too.
Didn't know that.
I've heard things.
Never heard that.
He raises
honestly, like when I say that, I've had people roll their eyes at me. I say, go look where he sits all time. You know how hard it is to be 5'0" and 150 pounds and freaking be a dominant player for over a decade. I mean, dude,
my all-time favorite Warrick Dunn story, and you know this because you're a Bucs fan. When he was being interviewed by the Bucs, they asked him, "What would you say you do best on a football field?" And he just said, "I score touchdowns," which is the perfect answer. It's an incredible answer, and he does.
Big fan of people who can score some touchdowns.
And I bring that up because when we were watching practice earlier this week, maybe it was last week, I'm like, man, all I watched Johnny Wilson do, I don't know how good he's going to be, but in practice, all he does is score touchdowns. That's a good trait to have as a football player, right?
It's a great trait. It reminds me of Chris Carter getting ripped at the time when he was with the Eagles before going to Minnesota.
All I do is catch touchdowns?
All I do is catch touchdowns. Yeah, all he does is catch touchdowns is what was said by the defense coordinator from the Bears who went on to be the head coach. Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan's like, Chris Carter, all he does is catch touchdowns. Like he was mad at him. He's like, well, my man, that kind of matters.
That's a pretty good thing to do.
Let a Hall of Fame receiver go because, that's pretty weird. But anyhow, long story short, Johnny Wilson's going to be a good player this year. I don't know if he's as good as we've hyped him up or the Warchant crew has hyped him up to be because I worry about press conference. You and I had this conversation now. That won't be what's on display tomorrow. He'll be fine. He should have no problem getting off of press coverage tomorrow. But against LSU will be the first big test.
Man, that's the test for all those guys, man. Deuce, Pokey to an extent, Micah Pittman. What are they going to do when guys get in their face? Like I said, I don't think this wide receiver crew is going to get dominated like they did last year. I think
they were dominated a year ago.
They've got what for, like you said. I do think that, man. They are competitive dudes. And I foresee that to me is going to be that's the game. If they win or lose against LSU, what do those wide receivers look like?
How well do they play?
That's what I want to see because that's what you think of moving forward because they won't face a lot of teams that have better athletes than that out wide on defense. If they can hold their own, our Kelvin Benjamin dudes into the third row with the one-arm throw, like do that and dominate guys physically, then you start getting excited about this offense for the first time in a long time.
Do another trivia question because we've only got about 10 minutes left, buddy.
I got to think of one. Let me think of one.
You're making it up?
Yeah, I'm doing it up on the spot, man. I'm doing it on the spot. I'll try to think
Stephen
of another
writes, outside of national championships, what has been your favorite moment covering FSU? Oh, that's a great question, Stephen. We talk about that 2010 team. We were just talking about them.
Yeah.
I get excited when I see the burgeoning signs of future success. Like when you've been in a place where you're frustrated and desperate to see signs of growth.
Yeah.
That first team that gives you an indicator that things are about to change always excites me. So by the way, I want to say again, what I'm excited about with this team is I don't think they're going to be a top 2 team in the ACC Atlantic, which if you think about Florida State, it's kind of sad to say, right?
That's where we are, right? Yeah.
But I do think they're going to be the first team in a long time to show us signs that the future is very bright, that they are moving in the right direction. And I can take a hell of a lot of satisfaction from teams that maybe aren't championship quality, don't have any shot in hell to win games against currently the Clemsons of the world, but do fight like hell.
Yeah.
And give you a glimpse of a brighter future. And this team could be that.
It could be. And I think especially when you think back of what this team was 2 years ago, I know it was a COVID year. It was a goofy year. That team was god awful. Like, they went 3-6. The only reason they won their third game is because they threw Duke on the schedule at the end.
Made him play.
If they would have played their real schedule and had to play Clemson and Florida, they go 2-10 with 8 absolute blowout losses, like humiliating losses. Clemson and Florida would have beaten them by 50 points each. The very next year, they lose by 3 to Florida. They lose by essentially 3 to Clemson when they had to lead with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's how much they gained. And I know Clemson and Florida both lost a ton, but if they'd have played in 2020, those teams would have just humiliated Florida State. Within 1 year, you're going toe to toe with them, and you're not getting humiliated at all. You probably should have won both games.
But that's why, and I don't think they should have won both games, but I get where you're going. That's why they're easy to root for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because the kids that stayed, the kids that didn't transfer, and I don't blame the kids that transferred. They'd been through a lot.
Yeah.
But the kids that stayed and bought in and fought like hell, and the kids that then decided to transfer in, Jermaine Johnson, Keir Thomas, kids like that, right? Who bought into what Mike was telling them about what we could do for you and how you're going to elevate your status and fight hard and make our program better. We'll remember you forever, right? Yeah. So it all builds to this moment where you say, all right, guys, you've been through hell. Go get you some good. Go get you something that makes you feel
good. Go celebrate.
All that hard work, there has to be a reward. And that's why we get nervous, because we want it so bad for the coach. We want it so bad for the kids that stayed. We want it so bad for the kids that committed during a down time. And I mean that. I mean, I probably, this is where I'm biased as a Seminole. I want to see guys like that who are helping us along the way succeed. It means a lot to me.
Well, there's a lot like that 10 team. That 10 team, none of those guys, maybe 1 or 2 played, won a national championship.
Tom and I talk about this all the time.
Those guys helped turn the program around.
They should give Chris Thompson a freaking ring.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Guys like that. Give that guy like that a ring. Because there's some of those guys who fought like hell to get us back to a place where we were respected and we can win again. And we open the door to other recruits.
What about Xavier, Rhodes, and Bjorn Werner? Because they left early. They could have been on that team, but they left. They chose not to get their ring.
I love Bjorn Werner. I love Xavier Rhodes. I got no problem with that. I went and got paid. But I mean, the bottom line is, when you find a team that has sacrificed as much as they have and they've had zero success, maybe it's the parent in me. I don't know. I just like to see those kids do something.
Well, you're a softie.
And I am a softie. I just like to see those kids have an opportunity.
What about the kids at Duquesne? What if the kids you don't give a flip about Duquesne?
If they lose by 80, I don't care.
Yeah, I know
do better. Don't go to Duquesne.
Your parenting only goes so much. Yeah. But I was going to say, though, answering the actual question about the non-national championship game that I've enjoyed the most, I'm going to say the 2012 Northern Illinois game.
Well, that's because you hated the quarterback and the coach.
Both.
Agreed.
Both. And just the fact that they talked so much trash.
Which was bizarre.
Crazy. They're going to be on their knees in the fourth quarter, and then that clearly wasn't the case. They had like 150 yards of offense, and their coach lied about it afterwards. All that was just ridiculous. So I'd say that one, just because I'm vindictive. And then the 2010 Florida game, which kind of ties into what this game, what this team could be. Because imagine
rocking.
Imagine if this team, because they've lost to Florida now, what, 4 times in a row?
Too many.
Yeah, too many. I don't keep track. I don't keep track.
Well,
But
we ended the Miami losing streak.
imagine if they're, let's say, 7-4 at Thanksgiving.
And then it's Florida rolling in on a Friday night.
Yep, and you
A
win that
chance to
game
get to 8 wins
or 9 wins. That's going to be, that could be a win that sparks
You know how
something.
loud that place will be if that happens?
Yeah, probably very loud.
I mean, it's
That's a
going to
good
be
answer,
that
right?
feeling from 2010.
Yeah.
Where you're down on the field, the place is rocking. I still have an awesome video from being
You're
down
playing
on the
All
field.
I Do Is Win. Remember that when that was on the Billboard charts?
I was down on the field and it was chilly. Remember that? It was chilly. That was so awesome.
And Urban quit. Like, he literally quit on the game. He just punted.
Bitch-ass Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
that was a
I know.
wonderful day. Yeah. It was glorious.
I'll be honest with you. I hope he gets another shot in the NFL. I think he deserves another shot. That kid, you run him out after a year. Come on, gang.
Not so stunningly, he gets another shot with Fox Sports. There you go.
Well, correct.
There
he
it is.
did.
But I at the end of the day, that was a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to be a part of, to be down on the field and to see that. You got a question? No? 5 minutes is what we're told. You want to do this trivia question? You better get on it.
I got to think of one, man. You could think of one. You can't. I'll think of one. Think of one.
You're an elitist when it comes to
who
trivia
knows what
questions
you're,
about Florida State football.
Let's see. Okay, talk about something.
Talk amongst each other while we figure this out. So you want to talk about? Oh, do you know it off the top of your head? I actually would bet that you do.
Okay.
The Seminole football team with the most amount of draft picks.
Was it 12?
13
going into 4. Well, yeah, but 12 had all those guys too.
All those guys too. So a total. Well, that is a cumulative thing.
Because the 2012 team, even Jameis was on that team technically, so that was 28 guys on that one team.
Well, it has to be after 25 in 2 years, right? So the problem is that we're doing the cumulative thing over 2 years. We need a singular season.
Yeah, but this isn't the trivia question.
Well, it could be if you knew it, but you don't.
I do.
So you've let us down.
They had 29
you
over
really
3 years.
failed us yet again, Corey.
They set a record.
I thought for sure you knew this.
29 for 3 years. They set a record that's now been broken, I think, by Alabama, and then
Georgia had 15
I
last
think they had
year
35
alone.
guys drafted last year, but it was the record for most draft picks in a year.
Listen, I actually, that's a fun one for us to look up afterwards, but doesn't do us any good right now. I wonder what the singular season.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of a trivia question. I'm trying to think of a trivia question. All right. Okay, this is one. All right, here we go. It's another national championship type question.
93, 99, or 2013?
I'm deciding on the run. We already did 13, so I'm going to do
29 straight.
I'm going to do 93. And I'm going to say, this is the question.
Yes, my dad and I were at the game. I drove the van.
Here we go. This is going to be a tough one. And there's probably a lot of people throwing random numbers at you, Tom. So Scott Bentley gave Florida State the lead with a, I think, 19, 20-yard
short field goal. Danny Cannell was the holder.
Yeah.
William Floyd picks him up.
And then Florida State, of course, gets a unsportsmanlike penalty for celebrating. And how long was the field goal attempt that Nebraska attempted to try to win the game?
My dad wouldn't watch it. He closed his eyes.
Straight left. You don't even know the answer, do you? So that's going to be tough for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah, you did. Well, hey, then here you go, man. You want the gift card?
Yes!
You got it. You won.
Yes!
Hey, nobody said it yet.
So nobody said it. Guess.
Hey, I'm going to text Tom.
Nebraska field goal 93. How far was it? No.
Wait, who said that?
No.
The distance. The distance of the distance.
No. Those of you that have said 43 are close.
Very close.
44. Who said 44?
There you go. All right, well, that was a lot harder than the other ones. There you go, man. Congrats, bud. Congrats.
And on that note.
That was the Price is Right at the end. I'm going to have to come up with better ones next time.
That was fun. I got it right, though.
You did, man. You nailed that stuff. How nervous were you, by the way? Because I knew he was going to make it.
I wasn't nervous. My dad wouldn't watch it.
I knew he was going to make it. I'm like, they just gave them the game. They tackled him ridiculously.
Listen, I want to add a little something, too. This will make you laugh. Years later, after that game, I go to a party. I'm dating a girl at the time. She's in the psychology department getting her PhD. I'm standing on the back
deck. That's a humble brag.
Hey.
Jeez Louise.
I'm talking to a guy who goes on to be a dear friend of mine. His name is Kobe Lund. He's a Nebraska graduate. He was in undergrad in 93. He was at the game. He says to me that night on the porch while we're having a drink, getting to know each other, I was roommates with that sorry son of a bitch who missed the field goal.
Man, and he missed it.
And he told me, all of us Nebraska fans knew he had zero chance to make it because he had been bad all year long. But we all thought he was going to make it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was later on. Yeah.
Well, here's hoping they played a national championship game this year.
Wouldn't it be fun?
It would be fun.
Ain't gonna happen. Hey, listen, we're at the Corner Pocket. We'll be here every Friday, 5:30 to 6:30 for the happy hour show at home games. Tomorrow, pregame show, 2:00, Hotel Indigo. Myself and Tom Lang. In-game coverage throughout the game. Dominic Robinson will be breaking it down as our lead analyst. Post-game show, Tom and Gene Williams got you covered, taking your calls after the game. Corey will write an article. Ira will write an article. There'll be a Sunday Smash.
Yep.
Wake Up Warchant on Monday. Jeff Cameron show on Monday afternoon. Geez, sweet
Just keeps
Jesus.
going, man. It goes and goes and goes.
You covered at warchant.com. Until next time, peace. Yay, football.
We made it. Hey, we get a cheer. Thanks, everybody.